Hi everyone. Once again, good afternoon. Welcome to the session. We were discussing about R programming and its capabilities, and we were looking at some of the sample code and trying to understand how R behaves in these various kind of scenarios, various scenarios. So let us try and understand further a few more questions on the same route, and then we'll see um, different other capabilities of R and Python anyways. So yesterday we were trying to look into this particular question where we wanted to see what we will get if we type y. Because y is a local variable for this custom function, right? And we are defining x already. So we will get a y, which is saying that object y not found. Because you have not defined y, right? So that's the reason why we will get this issue. When you execute this custom function, it is automatically returning x and y. It will return 3 and 6. But when you call y explicitly, then you will get an error, right? Because it is local. Now let us try and proceed further and look into further few more questions. So let us create these three vectors to start off with. I'm creating three vectors here. Vector 1 is integers. Vector 2 is character data. Vector 3 is also character data. Next, we are saying store the data frame in variable df. We want to create a data frame by name df. And then we shall answer these below questions. So yesterday when we were looking into similar kind of question, we created a list, right? List of v1, v2, v3. When we did this list, right, we are basically looking into three different data types of three different vectors. Today, we will be creating a data frame for v1, v2, v3, just like what we have done yesterday with this. But what is the difference between these two? Right? Now, data frame is the default data abstraction in our R and of course in Python as well. That's the default data abstraction, which basically means table. And when we say table, table is collection of rows, but each of that row is made up of features. Those features are nothing but your columns, right? Whereas list is nothing but just collection of lists, collection of vectors. So if I have to visualize this, right, the list would look like this: v1, v2, v3. Okay, this is how your list would look like. Whereas your data frame would look like this: v1, v2, v3. Right? So this is the difference between your lists and vectors. Sorry, lists and data frames. Right? So let us create a data frame. Now we can simply say data frame, data.frame, and create this. So I'll say df is equals to data.frame, and then say vec1, vec2, and then vec3. Right? You can either use assignment operator or equal to symbol. So I got a data frame which is going to show you vec1, vec2, vec3 like this. Now let us look into the questions. What is a command to extract the information from first and second rows with all the columns? In the list, when we were doing this same kind of question, we had to use double square brackets to represent the upper layer, right? I mean, what is your list basically? So if I have to say V1, V2, V3, this is your list, assume. And if I have to specifically capture one value, then you have to first say double square bracket to represent these vectors, and then single square bracket to represent the value of this vector. Now, this is not a list. Remember, this is a data frame, right? We created this as a data frame. So in the data frame, if I have to capture the first and second rows, then what we do? All the columns, I need all the columns. So to represent data frame, remember, we have square brackets. Whenever we put square brackets in R, it means we are referring to rows and columns. Now we say all columns. That means do not represent anything after comma. That means you are basically saying I need all the columns. But in rows, what they are asking? First row and second row. Right? They need first row and second row. So you can say 1:2. Right? So your answer, you already know by this. Let's type this. DF square bracket 1:2 comma. You get all the columns, that is vector 1, vector 2, vector 3 with 2 rows. Right? First row and second row. That's the answer. Next question. The command to add a new row to the data frame with the following values. Now these values have to be passed to each vector. Vector 1, you want to upgrade that with one value called 4, because your vector 1 is 1, 2, 3 only. You can see it is 1, 2, 3 only, but now you want to add one more value to it. Vector 2 also you want to add C. Vector 3 also you want to add one more entry, the same entry for scalar. So what we need to do here? It's clearly evident that we need to add, or we use R bind. Right? We are using R bind, row bind. But then I want to add the values to the existing data frame. So R bind, this value is not correct because it's not giving me the value. I mean, there's no other option, right? I have to combine two options, two data frames, or I should say one data frame and these values. But you don't have any reference to that DF in this particular second option. So this is not correct. Right? Then we have first option, it says create a data frame of your vectors, and then you also have this. Right? Now you're including this within the vectors. That's wrong. This data frame is a different object. The vector is a different object, right? The vector values are different objects. See what we're doing, a data frame means you have V1, V2, V3. Now we want to add a value to V1 separately, V2 separately, V3 separately, right? These three are three individual vectors. So we have to first create a data frame from them. That means data frame, right? So data frame of only these values. So this is also not right. So you're left out with these two options. Now what we want to do? We want to add new row. New row means it has to be at the end, right? So first you will add these values, and here you want to add that new row, new entry as new row. That means first you have to refer to data frame and then the new values. So this is also not right. The only option is this. And without executing, you can try and interpret your options like this. So if I add all this, you will get the new row. Yeah, there you go. So you have added the last row. If you would have executed this line, the third option, if I execute the third option, you'd see that the last row, right, that you're saying, the new row that you're adding, it comes in the first position because you're passing the data frame values first and then appending data frame, right? The order will be followed. So based on where you want to append, you basically use those functions, right? Third function or fourth option. So answer is this one. Next question. Yeah, this is your next question. The command to add a new column to the data frame. Now here we are adding new column. It is not new row, it is new column. Right? And the vector, we are saying with vector 4. This is vector 4. Yeah. So R-bind means combining rows, combining the data sets or the contents row-wise. C-bind means we are trying to combine the data columns-wise, right? So C-bind. And then we have to now come up with the column, the values being added to the columns, right? So we say data frame, then the vector. First, you need to have data frame and then your vector. So let's see what we will get. So what do you see? We are getting the error in data frame, right? It is differing the number of rows. It says number of rows is differing. So when I say data frame, this is getting like a column, right? But if you see DF, your DF is still 3 rows only. It is not 4 rows. That is the reason it says it's not getting updated. Now, when we run the previous exercise, this is your output. I have not stored this back into the data frame, right? I did not updated the data frame, right? Hence, it gives you this error. But if this is your data frame, let's say this is your data frame, then the answer would be. So what we will try to do here is just to show you, I'll try to remove this value because your data frame is only 3 rows, right? So let us try and do this. Now, if you see, because the number of rows is common, you will be able to append the vector 4 with this data frame 10, 20, 30, right? So those are the columns. So one thing you have to remember is when you are trying to work with R-bind, the number of columns should be same. If you're working with C-bind, the number of rows should be same, right? So these are some of the tricks that you need to remember, right? So the answer is this option, right? Next. Next question. Okay. We are being asked to create a data frame here. Let's create a data frame. And then, okay, let's first create the data frame, right? Let me copy all this. And let me create a data frame. . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . Let me put enter here so that we will be able to see. Yeah. So we are creating a data frame with 4 columns: name, month, BS, and BT. Right? So there are 4 columns that we are recording. Now, the question here: the correct way to extract all elements for which BS is greater than 150. Now, the hint says that we need to use subset function. If I have to use subset function, then what would be the right command here? I need to get all elements for which BS is greater than 140. That means you need to look into this column, and when you see, okay, let me show you the data frame. We say PD, this is the data frame. Now we are trying to look at the column called BS, right? And we are saying, try and check whether the value is greater than 140 or not. So there are 2 columns where the value is greater than 140. Now the question says extract all the elements. That means the entire row has to be selected. This row and this row has to be selected. So what is the command that we need to run here? So what is the command that needs to be run here to get your required answer? Now the dataset name is PD, remember, right? So to get the answer, it is said that we need to use subset function. And subset function basically returns the entire subset. Okay, it returns the entire subset, right, based on your data. So I will say subset, right? And these are the questions. So out of this, I want to capture all the records where I have greater than 140, BS greater than 140. So I'll say PD so that I can get all the elements, but the condition that we need to put is greater than 1. Subset of PD where this condition satisfies. So these are the 2 rows that we have extracted. The answer here is third option. The first option and third option, the only difference is the square bracket. In R, square bracket represents the index. It does not represent the data. Next. The library needed to do melt and cast operations in R. Right? Melt and cast operations. Melt and cast basically means if you have a data frame or if you have a dimension of your data set, you want to make that multi-dimensional data into a single dimension, for example, or you want to alter the dimension. Then we can use your reshape command. Cards is used for regression, caret is used for prediction and classification. GData is basically another package which is used for getting graphical data and all that. Reshape 2 is a package which allows us to have the dimension alteration, right? Reshape grouped data. So the answer is reshape. Yeah, reshape 2. Next question. What is the output after recasting the data frame in single command by running this value? Okay, so I have a very big data set here. We are saying we want to use reshape to recasting the data frame in single command. So I say recast the data frame PD, right? And I'm saying ID and variable plus this thing, right? So we have this data frame, right? If I say this data frame is which I have contains 4 rows, sorry, 4 columns, right? Name, month, BS, and BP, and it contains 4 rows as well, right? So that's the data set. So here we want to reshape it using month, name, and month, and then we want to recast it using variable and month, right? I want to recast it using variable and month, right? So look at this, what happens when I recast this data, right? So I'll just take these commands and show you rather than talking about it. When you see, you will understand this. So let me erase this. Okay, I will type in here. Let's first look at PD. This is your PD where you have name, month, BS, and BP. Senthil, Senthil, Sam, Sam, Jan, Feb, and these values are there. Right? So January, February, 2 months. We are trying to record Senthil and Sam data. Right? We have 2 names for 2 months. We are recording BS and BP. Right? Blood sugar and blood pressure. So I want to recast it using month and name. Right? So let's see. Reshape, then create a new data frame by recasting the data using name and month, right? And then when you see print, what you see, if I say like this, you see variable and month, right? BS, BP, month is January, February, and using the names, I want to see the data. This is your original data, which is name, month, BS, BP. But with these names, I want to try and measure the data. So you're altering the entire view of the data. So rather than a new variable saying name, you have those names only. There are only 2 people, right? And for these 2 people, we are trying to record blood sugar and blood pressure for February and January, right? So this is basically how we convert the name and variables, right? Using name, arrange the data with respect to variable and month. This is recast. So you're altering your data frame completely using this recast function. So the answer is basically this, right? Next, we are creating 2 data frames, A and B, right? And let us try and answer the first question. Let's first create these 2 data frames, A and B. Yeah. So let's say A and then B. You can see 3 observations, 2 columns, 3 observations, 2 columns. So this is your A and B, right? Now we need to answer these questions, 2 questions that we have. Okay, let me just set this up, okay? One second. I think I have some issue with the. Okay. 23rd, 24th. Yeah. Okay, there are 3 questions here. So let me show you. We have data frame A and data frame B. Now on this data frame A and data frame B, we want to join both of them. So we have right join and left join commands here. Right? The command to join data frame B to A using X1 as the key. So you have data frame A and data frame B. We are saying left join, right? And then you have to use the key. Key is your X1. So let us try this one first. What do you get if I try this? Could not find left join. Left join is not there. Change. Okay, give me a second. Why is this not working? Okay, when we get this error, we try to troubleshoot like this. I don't have dplyr loaded, is it? Let me load the package, dplyr. Okay. So what I'm getting here? I have A and B. I want to merge them. Right? This is A, B, C, 1, 2, 3, X1, X2. Then I have B, where I have again X1 and X2. Right? But I want to merge these two using this column X1. X2 is different, but X1 is same. Column name is same. Now we want to do left join. Left join means you need to have the second table first. That means you need to have B recorded. B recorded means you'll have A, B, D. And then you want to bring in the values of A. Right? So you have yes, no. But the third column, here it is yes. But for this column, this is C is there, D is not there, right? So here I would say 1, 2, and NA. So this is right join, right? We are saying left join, where considering A is the first table, B is the second table, right? But here what you're doing, first you're adding A and then B, right? We need B to be added first and then A. So you can say left join this. If I execute this, I get ABD and then A getting appended. So this is for left join. Similarly, we have right join. You want right join, A to be added first, B to be added next. Let's see. This is also getting ABD. Right join, right? So first right has to come and then A has to come. Yeah. So if I say A and B, this is on the right side, this is on the left side. So right join means first you need B and then A. Right? So B columns will be added first. This is also not right join. We need to first have values of B, which is ABD. Okay, ABD is there. Yeah. Yes. And this is your A column. But this A column has to come here. Right? So this is your right join. Very simple, guys. If you are familiar with SQL joins, then these concepts would be very easy. You have inner join, you have outer join, then you have left inner, right inner, right outer, left join, right join, right? So all these are different kinds of joins that we need to understand, especially when we want to do data blending. These concepts would come into picture. Say, for example, your data is lying in some data sources. Then you have to try and pull in the data, blend all the tables data, and create one single data frame for your analysis. In such cases, these joins would come very handy, right? C-bind, R-bind, concatenating, all these things, right? They come into picture. Joins are used for blending the data from multiple sources into one single data frame. Okay, so if I have two tables, left join means this is in the left table, so you take A and then bring in B. Right join means you take B and then you append A to it. This is right join. Okay. Next, syntax to set working directory. Now, working directory is very important. Your working directory basically is always talking about a location where all the files can be dumped, right, for that particular session. So this is a directory or a folder, assume. We put all the files into this. Now, when you're using RStudio, and if you want to refer to some data, then RStudio first looks into this directory, right? This is the working directory. Now, that working directory information can be obtained by doing getwd, or you can also see this. This is your working directory. If you want to know the working directory, you can directly click on files. It will always be in your current working directory only. There's nothing but this folder, right? Wherever you start your session from, RStudio session from, that becomes your working directory. If you're using from start, then it is documents location. By default, it is in Windows, it is documents location. But in order to set your working directory, you can come here under files, click on this more, and you see set as working directory is there. You can go to a working directory or set a specific folder as your working directory. This is one way. Here you have session. Under session also you can say set working directory. This is another option. Then the another option that we have is a command. If I want to see the current working directory, then I say getwd. Right? We say getwd. This is your current working directory. The same folder is shown here. Here also. Now, to set the working directory, you can use set working directory command, set wd. Right? Set wd is set working directory. If you see here, the syntax to get set the working directory is only one folder. I mean, set wd is only one file, right? One command. So this is your answer, set working directory. Next, We have two vectors, and I want to work with these two vectors now, where I want to do product A dot B or A multiplied by B. So what would be the answer if I try to multiply these values? So A, B. I have created two vectors and I wanted to do A multiplied by B. Yesterday also we have done this. So what would be the answer? Yeah, what would be the answer? The answer would be 4, 6, and 1. What happens here is, it's a dot product, right? We say 1, 3, 6. This is your vector 1 or A. B is 4, 2. Now, when you say A multiplied by B, it is the multiplication of the values in that position. So here I will multiply, I'll get 4. If I multiply these two, I'll get 6. But here I have a single value, I don't have any value here. How can I multiply? Right? So in R, we have this feature where the value is getting repeated. Okay, the value gets, oops, what did I do? The value gets repeated here. Right? So repeated means the smaller value should repeat itself to get a higher value. So if I multiply these two, you see the answer would be 4, 6, and 4, 6, and it should be 24 because this value has to repeat. Right? So it's 1, 3, 6, 4, 2. So here I get 4, I get 6, but here I don't have any value. Now, always the lower sized object will get multiplied, will get repeated round robin. So this 4 gets here. So the answer should be 24. So 4, 6, and 24. But if you see here, we'll also get a warning. Longer object length is not multiple of shorter length object. That warning will be coming, but we will get the multiplication. So we have answer 4, 6. Why is this? It should be 4, 6, 24. I think this value got removed. It's 4, 6, 24. Yeah, let me just fill it up. And yeah, the answer is 4, 6, 24. Next question. Custom function. I'm bringing in custom function again. This is something which we have done, similar thing, right? I have assigned value y to 3, and then I'm writing a custom function f, and I'm saying y is assigned to 2 here, and y, this symbol basically means y power, right? Y power 2. Then we also say g is another custom function that we are writing where we are multiplying x and y. Now, what would be the value of f of 6? Here, what will be the function? Returns when you say f of 6. That means you're passing 6 here. Yeah. So f of function f of x, function x, is also invoking g of x. Right? So it is also invoking this function g. So what would happen if I do this? So it takes x as 6. Y is assigned as 2 here. This is a local function, remember. Y is assigned 2 here. Then we are saying y power 2 plus g of x, where x is 6. But for this function, what is y? Y is 3. Right? Y is 3. So 3 into 6. 3, 6. Right? 18. And for this 18, you are adding y power 2, where y is 2, 2 power 2, 4. 18 plus 4. So 18 plus 4, the answer should be 22. Let us try and see. We will execute this. So I have two custom functions. I'm defining y as 3. Then I'm defining function f of x, which basically is taking value 2 and then saying y power 2 plus g of x, where g of x is defined as x multiplied by y. Now, if I say f of 6, then it is going to pass x as 6 here, but within this function, we are passing y as 2, right? 2 power 2, 4 plus g of 6. G of 6 means again you'll have here, right? This is getting invoked. So x is 6, but y? Y is not 2, y is 3. Global parameter will be taken. So 3 into 6, 18. 18 will be substituted here, then 2 power 2, 4. If I say, answer would be 22. Answer is 22. Next question. Okay, answer is revealed. What package is used to speed up data frame management code? DP or dplyr, you can say, right? Data frame dplyr. You can search for dplyr. A grammar of data manipulation. When you want to do any kind of data manipulation, this package comes very very handy. You can click on description file. A grammar for data manipulation, it clearly shows what it is capable of doing. You can also come back and click on user guide. So these are different options that you have. You can open any of these, right, libraries, or you can say introduction to dplyr. When working with data, you must figure out what you want to do. Describe those tasks in form of a computer program and execute the program, right? So dplyr is designed to do those things. A lot of documentation is given, guys. You can go through your documentation like this. Take one package and explore. Read about it. There are sample data sets which are provided. You have to practice more and more on those data sets. Right? If you talk to me personally also, the only suggestion I would give is practice. If you practice more, you will become master of all these concepts. If you ignore these, if you don't practice, then you will forget, because there are so many things, right? It's not complex things. It's just that you need to practice. So the answer is dplyr. Next question. If I have to look into this, right, store R objects. I want to store R files or store an object X into file. Then what should I do? What is the command which works here to save the data into a file? So here you can say save command, right? If you are in doubt, you can do question mark of save, but this is the syntax. Remember, index basically is referred by square brackets. So whenever you see the square brackets in R, that means you are representing that as for index. not for a function, right? So if you're talking about a function, then your regular brackets would come into picture. If you're talking about a data, you're referring something to with respect to data, then square brackets would come. Okay, so here we are talking about a function, and this is your answer. You need to save the file using file is equals to r.data. It's basically a syntax you can basically write anyway. Right? So yeah, file is equals to that file name. That's the syntax. Answer is yeah. Next question. Yeah, which package in R supports the EDA of genomic data? Genomic, life sciences, healthcare. Yeah. So if you are not familiar with these libraries, again, as I mentioned, do a question mark and try and look at this. The genomic data is obtained by gene, right? At gene. This is the package which basically helps us to look into the genomic data EDA. Right? We can try and see. I don't have the package installed, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I don't have the package. We can try and install the package and study about it. And if you want to see the complete list of packages, we can go to CRAN website. And here you see the packages list here. This is the complete list of packages. In total, 17,141 packages are available. And if you click on this, you'll get all these packages. We were trying to search for AdGen, right? This is your package. Exploratory analysis of genetic and genomic data. This is the package. These are specifically used for life sciences healthcare related study. Right now, there are two teams who are working on life sciences healthcare related projects, and that too in NLP area. Right? So a lot of exciting work is there. And you can use these kind of packages to get your business objectives met. Okay, next question. How will you read a .csv file in R? Very easy, very, very easy function. Everybody should be aware of this by this time. This is the syntax. Read.csv. Right? Now the fourth option is also read.csv only, but if you observe here, you're not putting the file name in quotes. Right? And if you do not put double quotes, then R is treating that as two different words. Sample is a different word, data is a different word. Right? It will not work out that way. You have to put it in a double quotes. The answer is sample.csv in double quotes. The path has to be, the character data has to be represented in a double quotes. Next question. What function is used to test the missing observation in data? Missing function, na.miss, na or is na. Missing observations, very important. Missingness. So we verified the missing data using is na function. Is na. That is the function which is allowing us to identify whether any value in the data frame is missing. If this one checks cell by cell. In your data frame, you might have multiple rows and multiple columns. It looks at each cell to identify whether the data is missing. Right? So the answer is na. Next. Dash is the function in R to get the number of observations in data frame. Yeah, this is also something you should remember. So n definitely not n columns. We are talking about observations. That means rows. So either it has to be n observations or n rows, right? N observations or n rows. There's nothing like n observations. The answer is n rows. The function is n rows. You can say n rows, right? Of df, for example, 3. Do I have anything called n observations? N observations is also there. What is this n observations? N observations. Okay, let us see what does this n observations talk about. Extract the number of observations from a fit. N observations from a model. It's not talking about the data frame. If I say question mark of n rows and do question mark, the number of rows and columns of an array could be a data frame also, right? So there are these kind of questions also where we might get a little confused. N observations is also seems right. N rows also seems to right? We both can be the right answer. So we say n rows is the answer, right? N rows. All right. Next question. Which of these following, right, is producing the desired output? Will produce the desired output. That means you want to have a specific format created here, right? We want a specific format. Talk about. So format df, we want to format it into this. df is a data frame. Now, if I try to do this, this is basically you're talking about date. Right? Let me show you this. This is a string manipulation. Basically, these are string values that you are trying to get here. It says unexpected format. Right? Then you can also talk about this. All of these are wrong. Nothing works. All of them are wrong. Yeah, answer is none of them. Right? So we are getting answer wrong. I mean, none of the above is the answer. Okay. Next question. Suppose there are two data frames. I have A and B. Let's say A has 23 rows. A has 23 rows. And B has 46. That means double of this. What would be the resultant data frame if I run merge command? If I am merging the data frame, what would be the result? No, not 23. This is 34. My bad. Yeah. I have 34 rows and I'm merging the two values. It's not left join or right join or inner join. These are not joins. And these are not C bind or column bind. We are saying merge. And we are saying all dot x. We want to consider all the values, all the columns. When you say merge, it is only considering the values which are there. That means, I mean, both have to be there. If you merge the two rows, I mean, two data frames, merging means you want to bring in the two data frames together, right? It's like C bind only, but you're merging. So if you see question mark of merge two data frames by columns, common columns, or row names. Either you need to have same column names or same number of rows, right? You can also use this, or if you have other manipulations, then go for join operations, right? So if I say merge of x comma y, it is going to simply merge the values and give you 34 rows, because same number of rows should be there. If you have more rows, then you cannot merge those columns, because in A you don't have those columns, right? Values will not be there. So it doesn't take that. Right? So answer is 34. Yeah, 34 is the answer. Next. What is the output of this command? We want to paste 1:3 comma C x comma y comma z, where separator is this. So I want to paste this command, right? So let us see what it does. 1:3. In fact, it says the syntax is wrong. So if this is the command, then when I execute this, look at this, I'm saying 1:3 comma, combine these values, concatenate, right? 3 strings, and separate them without any space, right? So if I run this, you will see that the answer is 1x, 2y, 3z. Right? Without having any separator, you want to merge or multiply them. So you get this answer. 1x, 2y, 3z. Next question. What will be the output of this snippet, this code? Paste A comma B, and this is separator colon. You want to paste A and B by separating them with colon. Generally, when we try to manipulate strings, we use this commands, right? Paste commands. So this is how we do string manipulation, right? These are used to do string manipulation. All right, so I think we are up. Time's almost up. We'll wrap up today, and we'll try to connect tomorrow and right, try to learn a few more questions, few more things. We'll look into various other capabilities, or yeah, we'll have to understand Python capabilities also. We'll see. Right? Tomorrow is a new day. We'll try to bring up new questions and try to understand